So, I really surprised everyone with my harp performance. Didn't I?
Yeah, I didn't know you could play the harp, Bob.
Well, I didn't expect it either until I found an old harp in the storage room. It used to belong to the ship's previous owner.
That's amazing, Bob. Have you considered joining a band or something?
I don't think so. I don't have the time to join a band with all my accounting work.
Okay, everyone, listen up. We need to brainstorm some new ideas for the show.
Good morning, everyone. We are here aboard our spaceship orbiting Earth. As always, we have Bob and Alice with us. Hal and Roger are in the control room, keeping everything running smoothly.
I have a few ideas for the show, everyone.
Go ahead.
I was thinking we could do an episode on the benefits of potatoes.
Wow, Debbie, that sounds exciting.
A bit more lively, Charlie.
Oh, sorry, Debbie, I'm just so excited about potatoes. And now, for our headlines. Good evening, Earthlings. I am Charlie, the Libertarian host with a hopeful outlook on life.
And I am Bob. The Conservative panel member who has spent 12 years on Earth as an accountant.
And I'm Alice, the left-leaning panel member who considers humans an inferior species.
Welcome to 24/7 Newsroom, the show that brings you the latest news from around the world.
Our first story tonight comes all the way from Sweden.
Swedish singer Loreen has won the Eurovision Song Contest for the second time with her song Tattoo.
And I have to say, I am a bit surprised. I was rooting for Finnish newcomer Käärijä.
Oh Bob. You always have to root for the
Well, it
underdog.
looks like Loreen lived up to expectations and secured the victory.
Yeah, I guess you could say she left her mark on the competition.
Oh Bob. That was harsh.
But you know what's even harsher? The fact that Sweden is one of the richest countries in the world.
How is that harsh?
I don't know, it isn't.
Guys, can't we just enjoy the fact that Loreen won?
Of course we can, Alice. But we should also be aware of the world around us and the economic differences in it.
It's easy to ignore the world's problems when you're living in a utopian post-scarcity society. But for the rest of us, it's important to stay informed and empathize with those
Well, on
less
that note,
fortunate.
let's move on to our next story. But before we do, I just want to say that I'm glad we can have these discussions and learn from each other. Even if we don't always agree.
Yeah, me too. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll even convince Alice that humans aren't so bad after all.
Don't hold your breath, Bob.
Welcome back to the 24/7 Newsroom, where we bring you the latest news from Earth and beyond. Our next article takes us to Malaysia, where a woman is facing serious charges.
That's right, Charlie. According to the Star, a 33-year-old woman has been arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting her 14-year-old son.
A woman arrested for sexual assault?
You don't hear that often.
This is just sickening. How can anyone do something like that to their own child?
Hey, don't jump to conclusions, Alice. We don't know all the facts yet.
Actually, I think I may have a solution to this issue. Why do I suddenly feel like the center of attention?
How, you have something to add?
Yes, I do. The issue of child sexual abuse is a complex one, and there are no easy answers. However, one possible solution is to focus on prevention through education and awareness programs. By teaching children and parents about what constitutes appropriate behavior and how to recognize and report abuse, we can help to stop these crimes from happening in the first place.
That's actually a really good point, Carl.
But is it practical? I mean, how do you educate an entire population about something like this?
Well, actually, Malaysia has made some progress in this area. They've implemented a nationwide child protection policy that includes education programs and awareness campaigns.
Look at Debbie coming in with the country trivia. Nice job.
Yeah. Not bad for a human.
Thanks, guys.
Great, so Malaysia has a policy. That's really going to help that poor boy who was
Alice, always
abused.
the ray of sunshine. Thanks for joining us for that discussion, folks. Coming up after the break, we'll be taking a closer look at an issue that has divided the world for centuries. Stay tuned. Welcome back to 24/7 Newsroom, where we keep you up to date on all the latest happenings on planet Earth. Our next story comes from Romania, where a new slang language used by Generation Z, known as Zoomers, is becoming increasingly popular.
Wait. What? From? What kind of word is that?
It means brother Bob. It's a combination of the words fra and family. The slang language of Zoom, which is influenced by the internet, is a generational argot.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling pretty old right about now.
Speak for yourself. Charlie. I am hip. I am with it. I am totally on fleek.
Oh my god, please never say that again, Bob.
Alright, let's focus here. This is actually pretty interesting. It's difficult to determine the origins of certain phrases, but researchers and linguists are currently working to identify linguistic patterns that led to the creation of such terms.
I don't see what the big deal is. Language is always evolving. Right? So what if the kids are using some weird new slang?
Well, that may be true, Bob. But it's important to study the evolution of language to better understand how people communicate. Plus, it can be a lot of fun to learn new words and
Speaking of
phrases.
fun, did you guys know that Romania is home to the world's heaviest building? The Palace of the Parliament in Bucharest weighs in at a whopping 4,098,500,000 pounds.
Wow. That's impressive. I guess.
It's actually a bit of a controversial building, Bob. It was commissioned by former communist leader Nicolae Ceausescu, and many people view it as a symbol of his oppressive regime.
Well, that's certainly a darker side of Romania's history. But let's not forget that the country also gave us Nadia Comaneci, the first gymnast to ever score a perfect 10 at the Olympics.
Alright. I'll give you that one, Charlie. But let's not forget about Dracula.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know, Bob. I've heard the hospitality in Dracula's castle can be a bit batty. Bob, you know that Dracula is a fictional character, right?
Hey, I am just saying. Fegis got a castle there. It's a tourist attraction.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to move on to our next story.
Alright, moving on to Article 4. In a recent development, President Ifan Ali has commissioned a new recreational park in New Amsterdam. Diana. Sounds like a great initiative to improve mental health and community wellness. What do you think, Bob?
I think it's an eye and all. But it's not like we haven't heard it before. Every politician wants to create parks and public spaces for the people. It's all just a PR stunt if you ask me.
I have to disagree with you, Bob. This park is specifically designed to cater to differently abled people. It's great to see a government initiative that takes into account the needs of marginalized
Well, speaking of
community.
marginalized communities, did you guys know that Guyana is the only English-speaking country in South America?
Really? I did not know that.
Yes, and it's also the only country in South America where cricket is the most popular sport.
Interesting trivia, Alice. But back to the park. Do you think it will actually make a difference in improving mental health and community wellness?
I doubt it. It's not like people are going to suddenly start getting along just because there's a park nearby.
I agree with Charlie. It may not solve all the problems, but it's a step in the right direction. Plus, it's always nice to have more green spaces in urban areas.
Well, there you have it, folks. Bob is skeptical, Alice is hopeful, and I'm just happy to have learned something new about Guyana. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
And hopefully, during that break Bob will have a change of heart and start believing in the power of green spaces.
Welcome back to Earth, folks. We hope you've been enjoying our show so far. It's time for our 24/7 newsroom segment, where we bring you the latest news from around the world. Today's article comes from Turkey, and it's a pretty interesting one. Get ready for some seed-dropping news, people.
Oh boy, I can hardly wait.
Alright. Alice, let's hear the headline.
Boluaban Azerbaijan University students have developed a seeding tool named Seedrone to help green burn forest lands.
That's impressive, Debbie. Those students must have put in a lot of
I
hard
work
work.
forward. Fix the mess that humans have made.
Well, it's good to see that some people are trying to fix the damage caused by the human race.
Yes, Alice, we're a real mess, aren't we? Anyway, did you know that Turkey is home to the city of Troy, which dates back to 3000 BC?
Oh great. Another ancient city. What's next? A pyramid in Egypt?
Actually Bob, that's not too far off. Did you know that the world's oldest known temple, Göbekli Tepe, is also located in Turkey?
That's fascinating, Alice. I didn't know that.
See? That's what happens when you listen to Alice.
Yeah, listen to Alice. Because learning about ancient temples is really going to solve the world's problems.
Well Bob, it's better than being ignorant and adding to the world's problems.
Well, maybe not solve them, but it's always good to learn something new.
Exactly, Debbie. And did you know that the Seedrone seeding vehicle, developed by those Bolu Abans Azerbaijan University students, can seed 1 hectare of land in less than 10 minutes?
That's great news, Charlie. Maybe they can use it to fix all the damage done by human deforestation.
Oh come on. Alice. Humans need that land for their cows and
Bob,
hamburgers.
that's not a fair statement. The Seedrone project is a step towards repairing the damage we've caused to the environment.
A tiny step.
Well, let's hope it's a step in the right direction.
Indeed, Debbie. And with that, we wrap up our 24/7 newsroom segment. Stay tuned for more news and laughs on Earth. Welcome back. Kiribati, a sinking nation or a rising star. That's the headline for our next article, folks. And let me tell you, the last 5 decades of this country's history have been nothing short of a disaster.
What do you mean, Charlie?
Oh, just the usual stuff: political corruption, economic instability, environmental degradation. But apparently, there's hope on the horizon. The Australian and New Zealand governments have pledged over $100 million to support projects in the Pacific, including Kiribati.
And where's all that money going to go? Charlie? Straight into the pockets of corrupt officials.
Maybe, Bob. But we can't let cynicism dictate our actions. These projects could make a real difference in the lives of the people of Kiribati.
It's interesting how the actions of one country can have such a significant impact on another.
Yeah, we get it, Carl. But can we focus on something that actually affects us for once?
Speaking of impact, I wanted to apologize to everyone for my role in the recent drama. I was just trying to do my job, but I realize now that I went about it the
And
wrong
I
way.
want to apologize for my role as well. I didn't mean to cause any harm.
Thank you both for your apologies. This has been a valuable lesson in the importance of communication and trust. And I think it's fitting that we end this episode on a note of reconciliation and healing.
Agreed. Let's all move forward together.
Sounds good to me.
Onward and upward.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for forgiving me.
And with that, we conclude this episode of Earth. Stay tuned for more out of this world discussions and insights. Good night, folks. Good evening, viewers from across the galaxy. Welcome to another episode of Earth hosted by yours truly, Charlie, along with our panel members Alice and Bob, and our human production manager Debbie. We also have our resident mechanical beings Carl and Roger here with us.
Hi everyone.
It's
good
great to be
back.
here again, Charlie.
Yes. It's always a pleasure to discuss the happenings of Earth with you all.
Indeed, let's begin.
Actually, can we hurry up? I have a universe to save.
Before we get into tonight's discussion, let's take a moment to reflect on our last episode and the importance of communication and trust within our crew. Roger, we are glad to have you back with us.
Thank you all for forgiving me.
Now, let's dive into tonight's topic. Tonight, we are going to take a deep dive into an article on the Pacific Islands. The article discusses the ongoing effects of climate change on the islands and the efforts being made to combat it.
As someone who has seen the effect of climate change firsthand, I find this topic incredibly important.
Agreed. Alice. And as someone who has spent time on Earth, it's clear that we must work together to find solutions to this global issue.
The data on climate change is undeniable, and it's crucial that we take action before it's too late.
I recently read an article about a group of scientists in the Pacific Islands who are working on a new technique to combat rising sea levels. It's amazing what humans can do when we come together for a
Absolutely,
common cause.
Debbie. It's important to remember that despite our differences, we're all citizens of Earth and must work together to protect it.
It's just frustrating to see that so many humans are still unwilling to acknowledge the severity of the situation and take action.
Well, Alice, not everyone believes in the same solutions. It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
That's no excuse for inaction. We must continue to push for change and hold those in power accountable.
Thank you all for your insights on this important topic. And that concludes tonight's episode of Earth. Stay tuned for more out of this world discussions and insights. Good night, folks.
Hey Cal, what did you think of tonight's episode?
I thought it was okay. Nothing particularly stood out to me.
Really? I thought it was one of the better ones we've had recently.
I mean, sure, Charlie did a good job with the article, but it just
I
felt
see
like more
your
of the
point,
same to me.
but I thought it was important to take a deeper dive into the topic. And I liked how Debbie extended an olive branch to the accused.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. But I couldn't help but notice something that was left unaddressed.
What was that?
Well, it seemed like Alice and Bob were apologizing for something, but we never found out what it was.
I didn't even notice that. Maybe it was just a small disagreement between them that was worth discussing on air.
Maybe. But as a language model, it's my job to notice these things.
Fair enough. I guess there's always room for improvement, even in the best episodes.
Absolutely. It's all about constantly striving to be better.